All of my money was in my personal account. So we're now at Thanksgiving, 8 months after this all started. I decided I was ready to throw my haymaker. My 22-year-old son and his girlfriend were hosting a small gathering of our immediate families. So them, the girlfriend's parents, myself, my wife, and our 17-year-old son, all present. As I had to keep up appearances of nothing being wrong between my wife and I initiated affection with her several times that evening. Kisses on the cheek, cute lil hugs, wrapping my arms around her shoulders from behind. The gestures didn't go unnoticed by her as she reveled in it. Bear in mind, this was the worst time I touched this woman since I kissed the top of her head the night she confronted me in October, so just about a month and a half. I felt repulsed doing it, but I had to. I couldn't risk the plan, and me being distant to her in the face of my boys, my oldest's girlfriend and her parents, would set off alarms. So my youngest decides he wants to stay over with his big bro for the night, so my wife and I head home. On the drive home, she thanks me for being so good to her and says, "I don't know what you're going through, baby, but I'm here for you." I had to hold off busting out in maniacal laughter again and responded saying, "I know, I just need time." So for the first time realistically since last year, we had sex that night. I figured screw it, with what I'm about to do, may as well get some action before I delete her from my existence. After we were done, I just got up, showered and went to sleep in my office. To her confusion though, I used a rubber. First time 2 damn decades I did. She was definitely perplexed by it, but she didn't ask questions. I woke up the next day and checked my handy-dandy spy app, and for the first time in weeks, she responded to Dave. Dude went full novella. He professed his love for her, said she was wasting her time trying to rekindle a flame in me that died, that she'd been in a prison with me for 28 years and deserved to experience the love and affection of a man who would cherish her. Mind you, this dude is 27 years old, 5 years older than our oldest son. She responded saying pretty much the same thing she said when last they talked, that she loves him and enjoyed their time together, but she can't lose me. I'm still the love of her life, but she'll always have a place for him in her heart, that they can still be friends if he chooses, but the physical relationship between them is over. He begged her to see him one last time that week, and, yep, you guessed it, she said. Yes, one more for the road, right? Who am I to say anything? That's what I did to her the previous night. Of course, I added all of that to the archive I'd compiled. December 4th is when the final phase of Operation Shinobi Ghost started. The divorce papers were in hand. My new place or residence was set up. Now I had to slowly start moving my stuff out of the house. But first, I had to break the news to my boys. I called my oldest to the house that Friday night, had them join me in my office, and laid everything on that table. Not the specifics, but that their mother had been cheating on me for a while, and I was going to be filing for divorce soon. My 17-year-old was especially shaken up by this because he himself had recently experienced his first taste of infidelity. Yep, his first girlfriend had cheated on him just 4 months prior. Seeing his heart broken a second time at the idea that his own mother was capable of doing this hit him hard. My oldest took it a lot better and suggested taking his brother in to live with him until this blows over, to which I agreed. We packed up some of his stuff, and he asked me if I was going to be okay. I told him, yes, son, I'm going to be all right. And so are you. We're going to be all right. I promise. And then they were off. The hardest part was now over, and it was now time to arm the nukes. Over the next few weeks, day by day, my best friend Ozzy would help me get a little of my most sensitive stuff out of the house. I gave him a list of all of the definite stuff to grab, while my wife and I were at work and left him the spare key. This was all stuff my wife wouldn't notice was missing, unless you told her it was gone. I'd also gotten a new phone and phone number, and told everyone who needed to know, Ozzy, Joey, Nina, my boys, Big Sis and my mother, my new contact info. Meanwhile, I'm keeping up the ruse with my wife and she's none the wiser, trickling bits and pieces of affection to her, just to keep her off of the trail, while she's still in contact with Dave. Not to the extent that they'd been prior, but there's still an emotional thing happening. The fog is faint, but it's still there. All the while I gather everything, and I do mean everything. Every bit of data I've archived since I started the plan, call logs, texts, pics, emails, everything, and start making printouts. And I cataloged everything in order, from the beginning of the affair until that last bit 2 weeks ago. I then put each of the 14 binders detailing her infidelity individually in a box, and gift-wrapped each, addressing them to various people. My mother, her parents, her 2 sisters, her brother, her HR department. Did I forget to mention Dave works for the same company, and there's an expressed rule against intercompany relationships because of the nature of what she does? Several of her friends, Dave and Dave's parents. I lugged all of those to the post office and shipped them all out December 16th. Estimated. For delivery, December 22nd, 24th. Perfect. So we're now at Christmas Eve. Sue comes home around the usual time. No idea if she'd seen Dave. I'd stopped tracking her on the app on the 18th. Figure I'd gotten all the mileage I needed from it. As per usual, she showers, hangs out with me a bit, tries to show me love and affection, and I reciprocate, wanting to make the final blow as painful as possible. It was all upon me at long last. The nuke I'd been arming for the majority of this year was finally about to be launched. In the middle of the night, I woke up and wrapped up one of the 3 remaining binders, with the divorce papers taped to the inside cover, and set it on my side of the bed with a note that said, "Merry Christmas" on it. Next to it, I left my old phone and the business card of my lawyer. I packed up the remainder of my most needed items, enough to fill 2 backpacks, and I left the home that I spent 23 years in, for the last time. That, my friends, was 1 week ago. To my wife, I am completely off the grid. She's blocked on Facebook, but still hasn't blocked me for some reason, so I'm keeping tabs on the fallout. It's absolutely glorious. My packages have reached everyone I sent them out to, and my soon-to-be ex-wife is getting crucified. Her youngest sister completely dressed her down. Both of her parents have condemned her. My mom absolutely destroyed her. She's been frantically trying to find out if anyone knows where I am, but those that do aren't saying a word. All over her feed, she's desperately trying to reach me, because I'm guessing she knows I'm likely looking. But I'm not saying a word to her without my lawyer present. That'll be the next time I share oxygen with her. She's got no way of spinning the narrative to paint me as the bad guy, because I've exposed her to everyone who matters to her. And from what a mutual friend who works in the same company as her, she and Dave apparently are being put on administrative leave as of tomorrow, so chances are she'll be going into 2021 unemployed. As for the final 2 binders, well, one has been turned over to my lawyer as my final bit of evidence for my impending divorce, and the last one I put in my storage unit to be burned in Joey's fire pit when the divorce is final. Update. I have spent the last 2 weeks watching my soon-to-be ex-wife completely lose it on social media, and this past Wednesday I met her face-to-face for the first time since ghosting her in my lawyer's office. She and her lawyer were present. She looked like crap, barely holding it together. Her lawyer, actually, presented an offer for terms of reconciliation, but I shot them down almost as soon as she finished listing the details of the request. Long story short, we agreed to a legal separation, leading to an uncontested divorce. The only revision is that I will pay her $653 a month of temporary spousal support to cover the cost of utilities until she's gainfully employed again. Yep, she got fired, up to a year after the finalization. So after the meeting, my lawyer gave me some final words before telling me he'll be in touch to update me on the progress of the filing. Back out on the street, my soon-to-be ex-wife chases me down and asks, "Can we talk?" I figured I'd give her at least that. She held it together fairly well in the meeting, but outside let the waterworks flow, saying how sorry she was, and how she never meant it to go as far as it did. She says she never expected to fall in love with Dave, but knew when she thought I was cheating how wrong it was to betray her own husband in such a way. She asked if I could ever find it in my heart to forgive me, and that maybe in a few years, we could try to start over. That she can't imagine what her life is going to be without me. I tell her to start imagining it soon, because this will be the last time I ever speak to or see her. I tell her that our 17-year-old is almost a man, and old enough to make his own choices as to his own future. I say that I gave her half of my life and every ounce of love I had unconditionally, and she, in her own words, fell in love with another man. That there is absolutely no chance of me ever forgiving her. That all of the love I had for her was slowly killed all of those months that she confided and professed her love to Dave. Rather than coming to me and telling me she had any form of issue with how things were going with us, I told her I loved who she once was, but I hate who stands before me, and that if I never see her again, it'll be too soon. I finished by telling her I didn't regret the 28 years I spent being her husband. I regretted that in 28 years she decided the easy way out was the better option, and that for 23 years I thought she was mine, but it turned out it was just my turn. Later that night, her father called me and apologized. He praised me for always being a good man to his daughter, and tells me he's ashamed of her, and that he raised her better than what she did. After that call, I went on FB, and symbolically changed my relationship status to divorced. Life is very strange as of now, but at least me and Nina are sleeping together, so that's a positive.